So we got audio. I'm very excited. So I normally do not post two clips in the same day, but I've been trying to work with my audio for so long that this is something that I would have talked about in session 2. So I'm going to post two clips today for you. I don't want you to get backlogged, but I make them short. What I wanted to talk to you is regarding legal entities and the IRS. A lot of people get in a lot of trouble over employee taxes. So what I did at the IRS, I was called a revenue officer, and I really worked with companies that decided not to pay their employee taxes. What the employee taxes are is, for example, when you go to work and you have your taxes taken out of your paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, that employer is obligated to take those taxes that they've retrieved from your paycheck and forward them on to the IRS every quarter. And they're called 941 payments. This is something that you will have to do if you have employees inside your companies. Well, a lot of companies do not forward those payments onto the IRS, and they do it quite frequently. So they're due quarterly. And a lot of companies will get behind on 4, 8, sometimes 12 quarters. And it takes the IRS a little time to catch up on these lacking payments because there are so many companies that do it. A great deal of restaurants do it. So what we want to do is make sure that as an employer that we forward those quarterly payments on. And I want you to know that your legal structure will not protect you no matter what it is. If it's a C Corp, an S Corp, an LLC, a sole proprietorship, if you do not pay those 941 payments for your employees, basically the federal government looks at you as if you're borrowing money from them without asking and stealing from your employees. And a lot of companies do it because they cash flow that money because they don't have enough money to make their monthly payments on whatever it is that they're doing. So it's unfair to the competition as well. So if one restaurant's not forwarding their 941 payments and another restaurant is, it's unfair to the restaurant that's in compliance. So you want to make sure that you have those 941s paid on a quarterly basis if you have employees. To make matters worse, if you do not pay them, you have no legal structure. So they can go after your personal assets and your property directly. It will break the corporate veil, and they can take your home, your personal belongings, your personal bank account. We're talking about an LLC. Well, the company, the limited liability company, helps protect you over lawsuits and anything that goes wrong with inside of the company. It separates you personally, and your social security number from the legal liability company. But in this example with the IRS, they don't look at the legal liability company. That just goes away and they come straight after you. So they'll take everything from the company and everything from your personal assets until they can get the money back to recoup the cost of what you have taken from them without asking. And they do not tell your employees. So they will send, even if you didn't send the money forward, they will still send your employees the money that's owed at the end of the year because they don't want mayhem at the end of the year. The IRS doesn't send a note and say, we would love to give you your refund, but your employer did not forward it to us, so we don't have it and we're not going to send it to you. So the employees still get it, and we just directly go after you to make sure that we are compensated or close you down. So that's a big thing. And another thing with being in a situation where you have employees, I want everybody to know that if you are on a bank account and filing 941s, you are personally responsible, even if you don't know that they're not being paid. So for example, you have 3 partners and one of them is doing the books and they're paying the 941s, but they're not paying them, but they forgot to tell you that they weren't paying for them. If the IRS comes back at you, they will say, you didn't pay the 941s. And you could say personally, I'm the president of the company. I didn't know it. I have a bookkeeper. It doesn't matter. The IRS will go after anybody who is on the bank account and has authorization to write checks. So if there's 3 people on the bank account that are authorized to write checks and only 2 of them know that the 941s haven't been paid, the third one will still be personally responsible for those. And if the third one has more money than the first and the second, they will go after the third one. So I just wanted to keep that update for you in mind as you move forward with employees, because I don't want you to jeopardize yourself. And I've seen a lot of situations where people did not know what was going on and they ended up being personally responsible. And for example, there was one gentleman that had a bookkeeper for 13 years, who was paying the 941s. He trusted her, and she created an account called IRS Incorporated in Nevada. And for the last 4 quarters, she paid her own bank account the 941s. And the gentleman thought that the 941s were going to the IRS. However, she was paying herself and writing the checks to IRS Incorporated. So she created a fake IRS company, sent over $100,000 of 941 payments to herself, and then just stopped showing up to work. So when the IRS came after her, or after the individual, the owner ended up having to pay $100,000, even though he thought he was paying the 941s. And of course, she was gone with her new Lexus and everything else. And so at that point, the gentleman was really out of luck, and he didn't know. He trusted this person, but he was still responsible. So it's something that I want you to think about when you have employees and when you create your legal entities, or if you get on a bank account in somebody else's company. Just make sure that you protect yourself and you make sure that those are paid. So sorry for the 2 posts today, but just surprisingly, my audio started working. So there is my 2 notes for the day. I will give you a break from my video clips for a little while and jump back on in a couple of days. And again, great job, and I will see you soon.